At this point in the commentary, I wanna praise Sonic Frontiers for one thing and one thing only, and that's that in spite of really not performing as well as it should, god damn it, it's not very system intensive when it's performing and it's top tier, and that makes it very easy to fucking record this game, because I didn't even need to use my capture card for this shit. I could just run OBS and it would record fine, and the game would run as smooth as it was whenever I wasn't doing anything. This is the PC version, by the way.
Oh yeah, I was gonna ask, like, how does this game run on Switch versus PS4 versus PS5 versus
well,
PC?
like the Switch and older consoles are gonna have some frame rate issues here and there, and maybe the pop-in will be worse. I don't know, but like
categorically, the Switch version is the worst version of the game.
That's not surprising.
what you're seeing for this playthrough is a PC that is more powerful than a PS4 Pro running the game off a solid state drive. So basically what you're seeing is the PS5 experience, because this game is not very like technically intensive. They didn't even like leverage the possibility of it being on stronger hardware to make the pop-in less worse when it's on super powered hardware.
Which is weird because, so I have this on both Steam and PS5. I played the PS5 version for my video. That game has a 60 FPS mode and a 30 FPS 4K resolution mode on PlayStation 5 specifically. Its default is set to 4K 30 FPS, which was so weird because, like, I recall this game being 60 when I played it. And I was thrown for a loop. Was like, did they cut the frame rate in half between the gold release and the premium event? No. The game has two different modes, and despite 4K 30 FPS thinking, it prioritizes performance, the pop-in is still just as bad.
Yeah.
Oh man, John, your opinion doesn't count though, because you went to Hawaii. So
Right, because I went to Hawaii.
Yeah.
Right, absolutely. Does not count. It was really nice, though.
But that's really just cutting the frame rate to have 4K resolution. I'm playing at 1080p because, like, you don't need anything higher than 1080 at desktop size. Just saying.
Yeah, maybe this is me being like a boomer and growing up, like, being a teenager when the Wii was out and being used to 480p, but, like, 720p is usually fine for me. So, like...
To me, it's the thing that doesn't seal the deal for me for 4K is that most times any game that has like a 4K quality option usually just has the frame rate cut in half. And I'm personally not too bummed out about having to play a game over 60 FPS or 30 FPS. If I have the choice, though, I usually go 60 FPS because that leads to better control and less lag. I still have not made the switch to dedicated 4K gaming because I just don't like how it just cuts the frame rate in half.
Yeah.
Like I don't quite understand it.
Like Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition, which is console exclusive.
They brought back the Sonic Rush, mash the button, do cool dumb tricks in the air.
Well, the left stick, but yes.
Oh, yo, best game ever. 10 out of 10.
Yeah, it gains you experience when you do that. So, but like it's like not something I would bother grinding because because like you'll max out your skill tree by the middle of the game. Just saying.
Oh, you were right about that animation, like cutting the flow of the game.
Yeah, it's pretty annoying. Like I would have appreciated seeing it maybe once per play session, and then just having Sonic flash with some blue lightning without stopping his flow. But yeah.
What were you saying about DMC5?
Anyway, DMC5 Special Edition, which is still console exclusive for some baffling reason, has ray tracing and shit, and it just like cuts the performance in half to make room for it. And it's just like, why would I ever turn this shit on? The game looks fine enough normally, and it runs at 60 FPS, which is kind of important for a combo-focused action game, just gonna say. And it's like, and I keep running into these kind of performance versus graphics settings in games, and it's rarely ever worth it to ever go for anything that isn't like maximum performance, because like the games look beautiful as they are. Why would I ever make them play worse to make them look 2% shinier? I don't get it.
I'm also just not one of those that play the games on like an 80-inch monitor for it to really mean anything.
Yeah, like I have a decent enough TV, but it's like I'm sitting a decent amount of ways from it, so it's like I can't tell the difference. I have a hard enough time seeing as it is.
Okay, I can see the appeal to that kind of movie theater like gaming setup in a living room, but like
Yeah.
I don't even watch movies in movie theaters, so I guess I'm the wrong audience for that. I sit at a computer desk and I play my games off of a cheap ass 60 FPS 1080p computer monitor with no external speakers. So
Cheers, I'll drink to that.
So like the only concession I ever make to setting up my gaming experience to be like all ambient and shit is that I have this whole daisy chain of wires and shit that exists entirely to connect my consoles to a pair of cheap Logitech PC speakers so that I can plug headphones into those and use those as my audio setup. So, like, I think I can get surround sound through headphone simulation, but I'm not going to have, like, surround sound speakers all over my ceiling. I'm
like
not,
true surround
yeah,
sound,
I'm not. I don't
basically.
have a speaker set up all over my ceiling. I don't have a big television fastened to my wall or anything. I don't sit like way back on a sofa. I sit in a ratty old computer desk chair that seriously needs replacing at this point. Like the faux leather is peeling off, and I constantly find it on my clothes. I really need to replace this goddamn.
That thing sounds like it needs to be put down.
I sit in a budget office chair in front of a budget computer desk with a pair of budget computer monitors that cost like $100 each. And that's my setup. So I see no appeal to 4K gaming because at this screen size, 1080p, I have to seriously squint and lean in to count the pixels at all. It just looks it looks fine. So yeah, that's great. But I have no frame of reference for how different 4K would look on a bigger screen from a distance. And I lost the thread of what I was actually trying to say. But what I started off on is this is the fucking PC version, and the pop-in still runs like crap, even off a solid state drive. But at least I can record with OBS and not have to use my fucking Elgato. So that's nice.
Okay, so that's how you do that. I did not know you could do that.
Huh?
I was looking at that tower from the distance for the longest fucking time, not knowing how the hell to get over there.
You never figured out how to get over here?
Yeah. So, yeah, which I know it might sound strange. Like, well, John, then how the hell did you get to that portal over there on that island over there? Well, it's funny that you mentioned that. Is because once you, I remember if you collect all of the portal gears or something like that, you can. You get a map or something like that.
Once you've completed the map, you can teleport from portal to portal.
You can teleport to any portal. But yeah, I did that first to cheat my way to this one. Because I did not know how to get here legitimately.
Yeah, and once you're over here, there's a button that you can press to spawn a wire, so you never have to find your way back here.
Yeah.
So that's a thing.
I never got the idea to mess with those rods. I just thought they were part of the environment.
Oops. Well, now you know.
Well, this invalidates my entire video.
You don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
I don't think you ever mentioned this, so I think you're safe.
I ruined.
Anyway, more cyberspace. Yay. You might notice that I'm like doing all of these 2 or 3 times in a row. You all. Oh, this is City Escape.
This is City Escape.
Yeah.
Oh, this is after the after
the snowboarding
the you get off
section.
the snowboard. Yeah.
There is a skateboarding level that I think is based off the beginning of City Escape, but yeah, this is the level
so strangely, I know what you're talking about. I was gotta wait for we get to the last island proper. All of the cyberspace levels in the last island are completely original.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Which is why I think they're the best ones. Yeah, they're the best ones.
Are you sure they're not?
They're the best ones in the
Are
game.
you sure
Yes.
they're not
No,
obscure
they're completely
Sonic
original.
Unleashed extra acts?
No. I'm pretty sure nothing was taken from like Sonic's Playhouse or some shit or some pre-kindergarten game. I'm not aware
Waku
of.
Waku Patrol car.
I know that there are a lot of cyberspace levels that are based on obscure Act 3s and 4s and 5s from Sonic Unleashed that nobody ever played. So
Yeah.
you might not be playing something original when you think you are.
You are right though in that like they've taken certain parts and like cut out bits Because, like, they went straight from the beginning of the level to the end here. Like, this is right before the...
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, they severely truncated the bit of the level where you stare at Sonic running down a building for 2 minutes.
At the same time, Sonic's also much faster on the ground here than he is.
Yeah,
in
it's
Adventure,
weird.
than
It's
Adventure
weird
2.
seeing him do boosty shit in SA2 levels. It's kind of like if you were playing Mario 1 and you suddenly got the cape feather out of nowhere.
Well, they have modded double jumping into Mario 64 just to show how broken that would be, and yeah, it's kind of like that a little bit. Now, the red rings in the cyberspace levels may give you significantly less shit than they normally do, and that's because in a startling display of the developers having pity on the player, they don't actually want you to have to do these 600 times to get everything. So they put most of the red rings, like, almost directly on your main path, with only a few of them being, like, in a bit odd locations that you have to kind of try to find.
I mean, I think that's a general positive, because I've always thought that the red rings have always been too hard to find in every Sonic game that they've been in since.
But there was I would argue there was more meaning behind the red rings though in earlier games, especially in Colors
Like,
and Generations.
I know
Like in
that
Generations and unlock concept arts, music for the sound test and shit. In Colors, it's how you got Chaos.
Here they're
Emerald.
just here for more keys, so it's not really all that special. But
Well,
like,
in terms of gameplay, like, why would you put these in the game for the player to collect? It's so that they have to experience the level in a different way, and that's fine.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, they've always been too hard to find in most of the old games.
there's always those 1 or 2 red rings at any given level in Generations or whatever, where it's like, okay, I have to go through this level really slow and take and really keep an eye out, and even then I probably won't find them.
Or in the case of Sky Sanctuary Classic, you had to do it 3 times because there was a red ring at the end of each alternate pathway.
One of the quirks of the way the combat damage in this game works, by the way, is that sometimes you can take a hit, and because the rings don't actually, like, drop from Sonic's body until he hits the ground, you can hit something like a spring, and the spring will save you from taking ring damage because it cancels out the fall.
Yeah, there's a brief moment in the air where Sonic remains stunned. If he hits the ground in that stun animation, he will lose rings. But if you're doing hang time long enough, you can boost out of it and save yourself.
Yeah, and the reason that quirk is there is because one of the unlockable skills for Sonic is a damage counter, where when you take a hit, if you hit the counter button quickly enough, you can cancel the damage and do a big-ass counterattack. And it's actually pretty cool to pull off, and makes it almost seem like you took damage on purpose, even though you probably didn't.
Oh, so it's not like a traditional counter where you, like, press a button when you would be hit.
Sonic does have that, but it's, like, really easy to use because there's no timing element to it at all.
I remember they said in a thing, it's just like, Sonic will automatically parry attacks if you just hold these buttons. And I'm like, all right, I'm never letting go of those buttons ever.
Well, you have to let go of the buttons because Sonic will freeze in place while you're holding the button. Actually, he even freezes in midair while you're holding the button, so you can use that to your advantage. Have fun, kids.
Can you?
That's actually what you just did there.
So can you do that to, like, break yourself instantly in midair?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really weird secondary. It's a really weird secondary mechanic of the counter button, but yeah. Also, the purple coins that I've been picking up are fishing tokens. You basically spend coins to fish.
Man, you know, it's so sad that you have to get the Dr. Eggman amiibo in order to find a way to unlock all of the
wrong
purple...
game. Wrong
Okay.
game. Wrong game.
Yeah, this mini boss just kind of seems like you're mashing the homing attack button and punch button.
Which is weird because...
Don't actually mash the homing attack button because Sonic frequently glitches out against the side of the tower. And
Well, this does this one have the quick kill the other towers have, where if you get to the top of the head and stomp it, you instantly kill it?
I am not sure, to be honest.
well,
Let's see.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
You actually stood it right there.
You can get to the top of the tower and stomp it for some severe damage, but I don't think that actually instant kills any of the towers, apart from the ones in that one minigame.
Yeah.
Anyway, one of the things that I will compliment Sonic Frontiers open zone design on is that aside from how samey the rails in the sky tend to look, the actual open zone itself has a tendency to be full of like little mini biomes and landmarks and shit. Island 1 isn't a great example because Island 1 isn't very big, so there's actually not a lot of separate areas here. But when you get to Island 5, which is Island 1 but bigger, you start to see, like, there's a flower field over here, there's this one ruin over here, there's this one village that, or ruin that used to be a village over in this area, and it's even more pronounced in Islands 2 and 3. 3 is a volcano island, but there's certain like area specific environments, like there's a hot spring over here, that sort of thing. And that sort of stuff is all over the place, and I wish the game didn't have quite so many rails in the sky, because I feel like the open world would be like way more interesting to explore.
I think a good middle ground would have the rails and platforms take form of the aesthetic of the island itself. But I was going to get into that myself because it's not to say that it's not a legitimate critique, but I was personally never bothered with the floating rails and platforms like just hanging in the sky.
I was more, well, I'm more bothered by the rails in the sky looking like way more
futuristic than like the natural greenery and the volcanic stuff like that.
It's because they look like what they are. Hastily assembled level assets from a copy-paste level editor just hanging out in the sky. They look like the user-generated content from fucking Infamous 2 is what they look like. Maybe a little less ramshackle than that, but that was in the PS3 generation, so no points there. My point is, like, the open world design is the open zone design on the ground specifically is intimately detailed. There are specific areas of each open zone that are meant to serve certain purposes. Like, there are little building constructions that look like Eggman left them there. There's this one area that looked like it was a town. There's this one like big old tower, and the stuff around it is part of that one ruined construct, and it's all deliberately arranged. And then it's like all of the rail in the sky platforming challenges were just sort of sprinkled on top of it like sprinkles on an ice cream cone, you know? It's
almost procedurally generated in a way.
Yeah, kind of.
Without having like any sort of rhyme or reason to it.
And you know, I don't mind procedural generation as a level design element if it's a consistent part of the way the game is designed. Like, I could play Daggerfall until the cows come home. That game is procedural generation literally as far as the eye can see and beyond. But like, it all sort of fits together because that's the way the entire game is built. Here it's just kind of jarring. You got the ground level, which is intimate open world design almost on the level of what you'd see in Breath of the Wild, and then you've got the upper tier, the layer on top, which is all rails and platforms. And hello, Sage. I just realized I'm talking right over Sage's introduction. Great.
Well, we've got plenty of other times to see her in action. It's fine.
Sage is probably the one who procedurally generated all of Daggerfall. That's how awesome she is.
Sage is probably one of the best characters introduced to the series.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree with it.
In a very, very long time.
I definitely agree with that, although you kind of need to go out of your way to get the most out of her as a character, because...
Yeah, you do, unfortunately.
You need to get the egg memos from Big's Fishing Game to get Eggman's side of the story, and a lot of Sage's cutscenes on all 3 islands... No, on all 4 islands, I should say, are optional cutscenes. And the ones on Island 5 have a really steep memory token cost, by the way. Like, hilariously steep. Like, they really want you to work for those.
Like, I did like a round of Big's Fishing to get what I thought was going to be enough memory tokens, and I still needed like 37 of the fucking things afterwards. I was like, what the fuck?
Like, they really wanted you to work for the memory tokens on Island 5, which is a shame because fucking everyone was done with collecting memory tokens traditionally by the time they got to that. And Big's Fishing minigame is fucking busted on Island 5, so you can just spend 20 minutes there and have everything you need to complete the game.
That's what I did. When I ran out of coins, I just went out and found some more. It's like, big buddy, old pal. Need some more stuff. Need some more stuff.
Wait, who runs
Oh,
out?
no, I'm your buddy. Yeah.
Did you run out of coins at the fishing game? I never.
Oh
run
no,
out
I
of
think I got enough stuff. I think I got enough vault keys, but I didn't have enough memory tokens, so I had to go back.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that makes more sense.
It does cost more to fish in later islands. Let it be fair.
I mean, by the time you get to Island 5, you've probably encountered so many starbit showers that you've got way more fishing coins than you'll ever use.
yeah, but this is also assuming that you're also deliberately playing the slot.
Plus,
rooms.
while I was
not.
recording this, they added the Monster Hunter DLC, which lets you cook with Big, which costs all of nothing.
Wait, there's like actual Monster Hunter, like
DLC,
a
yes.
crossover.
There's a Monster Hunter crossover costume, and that crossover costume also adds a cooking minigame to Big's fishing area. And the cooking minigame doesn't actually cost anything to play, like at all. So you can just grind coins. You can grind his shop coins just by.
Oh no, you screwed it up, Lewis. No. Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
Lewis,
I know
this
how
isn't
to
that
do
hard.
it.
It's map 1.
You go like down there, and then you go
There you go.
squibbly doo, and then you go up. Yeah, see, you did it.
You ever consider just playing the game?
The mistake I was making there was rushing to try and start the puzzle before I actually stopped and looked at it. So I kept stepping on the wrong tile at the very beginning.
You can cheat diagonal movements, but it's very precise.
Yeah,
it is very, very precise.
Absolutely pixel perfect. But
Yeah.
not really worth it, considering that the puzzle takes like 20 seconds to restart. No, 2 seconds to restart. You just need to like step off the puzzle and then step back onto the starting point. These things are the nighttime only map challenges.
Oh, I was gonna ask at one point if like the weather or the time of day
It's-
mattered.
Occasionally,
It matters
if
for
it's
like
night.
1 or 2 map challenges per island, so basically not at all until it does. And when it does, and when you run into these things, it's always fucking daytime. So you wind up having to like. Okay, and this is the real problem. The real problem is that you can't mark these fucking things on your map for later, because you can only put down one marker, and the marker will always disappear when you get close to it, so you can't mark anything that is close to you. So the only way to mark these things for later is to use up your one map marker, and to even do that, you have to like establish some distance between yourself and the challenge.
Wait, they only give you one map marker in this game?
Yep.
Yeah, it's like this is one of the places where I really wish they had mimicked Breath of the Wild more, because Breath of the Wild's map system is fucking amazing.
Yeah, it's like I really like Hollow Knights for this too, because like you can get more map markers, but you have to buy them, and it's like neat.
Yeah.
This is an issue Pokemon Scarlet Violet also has, where you can only make one fucking marker on the map, and it's like, guys.
The Scarlet and Violet map is not much better than the Sword and Shield map. It's like, yeah, you can sort of mark one destination, but it's like, this map doesn't really tell you a whole lot.
So they made a new adorable mascot character that they can make merchandise out of, instead of just reusing the one they already have.
Oh, actually, there is a connection between the Coco and the Chow. So there's a reason that they did this. And it's the fact that, and these adorable little stone totem things, which are called the Coco, are connected to the ancient race that used to live on these islands. And the ancient race that used to live on these islands was the race that Chaos and the Chow came from. So that's nice. Continuity welding. Woo.
Referencing things people actually like, and I still don't know why they don't have a Chow raising app on the phone.
Literally, Sega would make millions of dollars if they did that.
It's
but,
probably because Tamagotchi got there first. Because, yeah.
Still doesn't mean they shouldn't try.
I mean, Harvest Moon got there first, but that didn't stop Stardew Valley from selling like 10 million copies. So.
No, that was because Harvest Moon lost the rights to the Harvest Moon title. So, yeah, the actual games with the Harvest Moon title on them are kind of ass now. Like the newer ones, rather, because they're just poor imitators that get to use the original branding because of rights shenanigans. Story of Seasons is where it's at, but like nobody knows about Story of Seasons, so oops.
So the hearts and the other things that you've been getting are to improve your stats, and the Coco improve your speed in rings.
Yes.
the spiky heart-shaped seeds are power seeds, and the blue ones are defense seeds. The cocoa that you collect are for rings and for your speed, but you're not going to upgrade that shit by collecting the actual cocoa from the environment. You're going to upgrade that shit by buying cocoa in the 20s, like 20 per pop, from Big the Cat.
Wait,
from his fishing game.
Big as kidnap these guys? What?
You know what? I don't know, but you're going to be getting like all your fucking cocoa from him because actually finding them manually in the environment is such a pain.
Yeah. And they're not like the Koroks from Breath of the Wild where they're set. They, outside of the treasure chest ones, are kind of randomly placed outside of maybe like a couple of the shrine areas.
Randomly placed, and they respawn with every blood moon. I'm calling it the blood moon because that's exactly what it is.
Let's not kid ourselves.
Yes,
it's the blood moon.
It's the blood moon.
Yeah.
It respawns all the enemies and all the mini bosses and all the collectibles. And the only things that don't respawn are the story specific cutscenes and map challenges. So yeah. This, you know what? I really like this about the story, where the Sonic characters just slow down and actually talk to each other about the shit that's going on around them. It's like, wow, they're using their brains. They have brains in their heads.
I mean, I wasn't a fan of the, we came here because I'm going to explain the thing that you already know, Amy. Like, that's never been my favorite writing trope in any kind of game, but like...
Well, in this case, it's more like he's saying it because he's connecting that thought to the thought that follows. So it's not as bad as some other, as you know, the elven nation of Quadrupec is...
As you know, Ryan,
like
Lewis, you, me, and John have been doing BrainScratch comms since 2013.
Oh, God!
As you know, the Church of Saros is a stupidly large religious organization. But like, you know, he's saying that because like we came here because the Chaos Emeralds were drawn here, but now we're finding that there's all this Chaos Emerald specific technology. And they talk about this stuff not only in relation to what they've learned so far, but also in relation to what they know from the rest of the series. Like, well, we've run into other civilizations that have used the Chaos Emeralds, but this all seems older than that, so, you know. Interesting.
Also, despite the fact we've been doing this for 30 years, we really don't know much about them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're shiny. That's all you really need to know. Although, I am, like, surprised that, okay, yeah, you get another one 5 feet. Mr. Krabs, why did you build this Chaos Emerald Tower 5 feet away from the original?
Well, it only feels like 5 feet because Sonic can cross these levels in like no time flat. So
It take half an hour for a Link to walk that distance.
I mean, we're on part like 4 of 30, and you've already found 4 of them. So like, dude.
Oh no,
like,
you reset the emeralds every island.
Oh, so Sonic drops them down his pants, and now we have to find them.
he gets shot out of the air by lasers, and they kind of knock the emeralds out of him the way Knuckles' punch at Sonic 3 did.
Oh, so this is the, inevitable conclusion of Sonic keeping his Chaos Emeralds in an invisible pouch upside his anus, is that there's no zipper there because it's upside his anus, and they just drop out.
I compare it to Knuckles' punch in Sonic 3 for a reason, because he flies from island to island as Supersonic and then gets blasted out of Supersonic by the island defense systems. And the islands themselves sort of draw the emeralds back into their little container pod things. So there's a reason it happens. It's not as contrived as Knuckles punched the emeralds out of Sonic, and they're back in special stages for some reason that we can't explain. Literally can't explain, because we never explained what the fuck special stages are.
Does this skill tree get bigger, by the way? Because it looks like you've almost finished it.
No, it's almost finished.
Wait, so then what's the point of a skill tree? Then why not just unlock this shit as you do the first island?
It is kind of satisfying to unlock skills in a skill tree, and it does give you time to learn each move individually as you learn them. But the thing is,
I mean, no, I agree with that, but I don't.
They didn't give the skill tree enough to do, is the problem.
I agree in that you shouldn't give all of your skills to the player to begin with. That's not necessarily good game design, because that's overwhelming, especially in a game like this. And we don't want an even longer tutorial hallway in this room, clearly. With that said, I don't know why they didn't just, have like a little mini game like pop up every 20 minutes or so saying Sonic can do this, Sonic can do that, you know, as opposed to making you do a skill tree for the first 2 hours and then not do it ever
Well,
again.
it takes more than 2 hours, but only because the last few skills take a lot of experience to gain. But like one of the skills is literally auto combo, which is you spend skill points to unlock easy automatic mode. Okay, that's something.
Well,
I'm
it's that you do less damage, I think, is the trade-off.
I don't know what the trade-off is, but the point is they have an auto combo option in the options menu that they locked behind a skill in the skill tree, and it's so strange to me because the auto combo skill costs so many skill points, and you have to get almost halfway through the skill tree to get to it. So who's gonna fucking use it? By that point, everyone has mastered the manual controls anyway. You know?
Yeah, what if I'm really tired?
Well, then you can turn on easy automatic mode and enjoy your B ranks.
There you go.